What should have remained a mythological fairy tale is actually true. Discovered first back in 2002 in the Cerrejón, here are disturbing Titanoboa sightings people were never supposed to see. Giant snakes, such as the anaconda or boa, were probably tiny in comparison to some of these giant reptiles our ancestors painted on the walls. The biggest snakes that have ever been drawn and recorded, as of right now, were discovered in South America. Despite the fantastical art they found, this is just the tip of the iceberg for them, heavily speculating that there is more to be discovered here. Within the 10,000 ancient decor, the largest one that was discovered out of all of them was the 43-foot-long giant snake, very similar in length to the ancient Titanoboa. Alongside the biggest snake, there were 6 other giant snake drawings, not as long as the 43-foot-long one, but still terrifyingly large in comparison to the human drawings around it. There was also the theory that these were drawn from spiritual beliefs, with many snake worshippers believing in the good and evil that came from these creatures. Some people like to test their mortality and actively go out to try and capture these giant beasts. Uploaded to the channel Animal Wire, 2 men decided to travel down a river on a tiny fishing boat somewhere in Brazil, but they weren't planning on catching regular fish. The 2 of them managed to spot a giant snake out in the middle of the river, with a very full belly, might I add. For some reason, they decided it would be fun to try and go after it and grab it by the tail. Some people are literally just built differently, I guess. They're reaching out to this thing with their paddle to try to get it in closer, and this poor snake is desperately trying to get away. These things aren't a toy. They are insanely dangerous predators when you provoke them. Thankfully, the men in this video also got in some serious trouble after their video went viral, resulting in quite the fine after going against severe wildlife protection laws. Could you imagine your day job being the one to be called up about a snake in someone's ceiling? Yeah, there are people that are paid to take care of your giant snake problems. Somewhere in India, a woman called a company in the area to help deal with the giant snake that was hiding out in her ceiling. The video you're seeing here shows just that. The worker is very careful at opening a part of the ceiling, revealing its body. The worker is quick to locate the tail and grab it, but this obviously terrifies the snake and causes it to try and slither off. After this, it goes completely downhill from there. The ceiling comes crashing down, and we are now getting a solid visual at how big this thing actually is. I feel bad for the person who owns this house. You gotta clean this mess up afterwards. Thankfully, the video ends with the snake being secured properly by its head and no one got hurt. I truly believe snakes are more terrifying when they're in the water. They're much faster at getting to you. This alleged Titanoboa video definitely has me scratching my head, and this person managed to capture a striking visual from on top of a mountain of a bizarre, elongated creature floating along a clear blue lake. I think it's a snake, and man does it look long. I don't really know what else this thing could be, because it's way too curved to be some sort of log or some extremely large plant. It looks to be very close to a local beach area as well, where towards the end of the video, we see those dividers that pools usually use off on the far right. Hopefully, whatever this thing is, someone managed to report it so that people could clear out from the water. We don't need an accident to occur on such a lovely day. What are your thoughts about the Titanoboa? Let me know down below, and I will see you all in the next video. A terrifying 40-foot apex predator once slithered these lands, devouring crocodiles, taking on dinosaurs. Let's dive into the world of one of the most dangerous reptiles that has ever existed. I feel it's worse when you can't even see the snake coming towards you, making the hunting tactics of this predator living up to its name. This doesn't show the snake, but we are able to witness the sheer force of its movement beneath the water, making small ripples around it as it swims past the cameraman. Sometimes fish can cause this effect too, if they're big enough, but for a singular body of an animal to produce this much force, it has to be a big snake. For a split second, towards the water's edge, I could almost catch a glimpse of its body, and unless my eyes were playing tricks on me, that is one big snake. Some of y'all are too brave about getting this close to dangerous wildlife like this. Because of how unpredictable Mother Nature is, you might find yourself in a not so good predicament. For a long while, there was a rumor going around about an alleged billionaire by the name of Kelsey Warren, who supposedly had a Titanoboa locked up in his house. The first red flag about this guy was that he apparently had a jungle-themed section within his mansion. The second red flag, which is what got him on the radar, was an alleged picture of him being posted onto his Twitter page of him posing in his jungle-themed room. Not even an hour after it being uploaded, people were quick to notice a supposed giant snake in the background of his photo. The Central Bureau of Investigation had to get involved because thousands of people were reporting this guy. Upon searching his home, they didn't find anything at first until they came across a suspicious door with a rusted sign. When they opened the door, they apparently discovered the hidden Titanoboa locked within a cage. One of the agents working on the team tried to record a video of it, but for some reason was forced to have it wiped from his phone. To this day, the original tweet and the video remain lost in the endless void that is the internet. Majority of snakes are able to reproduce with themselves, but have you ever seen two giant snakes actually get together? This video is wild, because at first I couldn't really understand what I was looking at, and was almost convinced it was AI. But here we have a male snake wrapped around a female trying to fertilize her eggs. It is definitely one of the more rare sights to see, since snakes are solitary creatures. But just seeing how their bodies are so intertwined makes it look almost mutated. The video gets even crazier as we are watching this giant female snake drag the male into its burrow, really showing us the size comparison between the two sexes. That's usually the case with the majority of species though. While males may sport the funky colors to try and seduce the females, some of the females sport a larger body size. It's quite common with spiders as well. I don't think y'all understand how big some of our snakes can actually get. This one video on YouTube shows a great example of how big their bodies are in comparison to a human figure. And keep in mind, this guy is pretty beefed up as well. And yet the image of this giant snake crawling up its back makes him appear even smaller. Yeah, imagine having that thing wrap you in a tight hug. It's even amazing to witness how incredibly talented and strong snakes are, using their belly scales to help them climb up and across virtually almost everything. I couldn't even begin to imagine how it feels from the worker's end to feel this thing climbing up and over him, feeling every scale that's grabbing onto his body to hoist itself up, and not to mention the weight of these things. I know some snakes can weigh roughly around 100 pounds, but this guy definitely had to be more than that. You know, you're taking a peaceful walk through the woods to help clear your mind from the dumpster fire that is our planet, and you accidentally come across this terrifying thing staring down at you from the trees. It doesn't help that at first glance you wouldn't even notice it, since the color of their scales are meant to allow them to camouflage into the background. It's terrifying. You blink and you miss it. But why do snakes climb trees if they mainly hunt on the ground? Good question. They do this as an option to get closer to the sun. Since snakes are cold-blooded creatures, they rely on external sources to regulate their body heat. If by chance they are too cold and there is a bunch of trees and other foliage covering the sun, they will climb trees until they find the perfect spot that allows them to bask in the sun to warm them up. Same with hot days. They will then dip themselves in the pool to help cool themselves off. So don't freak out too much if you see a snake up in a tree. They might just be trying to get themselves a quick tan. What are your thoughts about the Titanoboa? Let me know down below, and I will see you all in the next video.